All right, welcome back to the sports show on this here damn YouTube. Gonna get in some MLB, have a cool little topic too. We'll be doing our all-time teams, not best players, but our favorite players at all positions in the baseball. But let's kick it off, as always, with the damn standings. Out in the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays continue to whoop some ass, 37-15. Been struggling of late, going 6-4 their last 10, but still hanging on tough in first place. Baltimore Orioles 33-17, only 3 games behind, which is pretty nuts when you think about the start that Tampa Bay got off to. The Yankees creeping up from that basement at 30-22. Red Sox 26-24, and the damn Blue Jays 26-25. Had to have a little team meeting. Out to the AL Central, Minnesota Twins 26-24 in the worst division in baseball. And who's in second place? Oh my God. Do you see who's in second place, Mr. Jeremy? Who is that?
The Detroit Tigers.
That's right.
A division with only one team over 500, and they're 2 games over.
Crazy. The Motor City Kitties in second place and only 2 games behind the Minnesota Twins. Out west, the Texas Rangers 31-18, if I can read that correctly. Might be a 16. I think it's 31-18.
Yeah, it's 18.
Yeah, Houston 28-21. How about Jose Abreu? You know how many home runs he has on the year?
No.
0. He has 0 home runs on the year, and I think he's played in 48 games, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's 40-something, so putting up a big 0 on the season, which, by the way, was the amount of home runs you had Meadows hitting for the Tigers this year. They got the Angels.
That prediction's going to come correct.
It seems like it, because I haven't heard nothing about him returning to the Detroit Tiger lineup. So you got Texas in first place in the West, Houston in second, and the Angels in third place. And in the National League, Atlanta Braves still in first place at 31-19, the Mets at 26-25. Who cares about the Marlins? In the Central, Milwaukee Brewers and Pittsburgh battling out there. St. Louis kind of creeping back in it, but Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis is your top 3 for the Central. And out west, LA Dodgers, the team that I think a lot of people have forgotten about, in first place at 31-20. The Diamondbacks 29-21. The Giants at 25-25. And amazingly, the San Diego Padres 4 games under 500 with a 23-27 record. Talk about a damn disappointment. How the hell is San Diego under 500 with the talent that they have out there? Crazy shit.
Here's some interesting facts. There are 2 divisions in baseball where there's only one team with a positive run differential, and that's the AL Central and the NL East. The Braves surprising. Are plus. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's real surprising, especially with the Tigers' pitching staff being depleted as it is, and it's not even like the players they lost would have been putting up big numbers anyways. But yeah, I would have never guessed that for those 2 divisions with that stat you threw out there.
So one more quick stat, and then we can move on. The Oakland A's have the worst run differential in baseball, and their run differential is a negative 184. That is just about as much as the rest of their division is in the positive.
That's insane. You talk about a bad team. Good luck with that, Vegas, right? They might change their mind. Hey, we don't want them. Let's take, the Cubs or some shit like that. Now I want to get into Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone, I've never actually heard of this before. I didn't know this was a damn thing. Aaron Boone suspended for 1 game for disrespecting the umpires, getting thrown out twice. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I've heard of managers going off and throwing shit, like if they, take it a little bit too far, which I guess is what they're saying Boone did, but pretty weird. Aaron Boone of the Yankees getting himself a 1-game suspension out there. Whew, man.
Here's some interesting facts we got here. First, we'll talk about Aaron Boone. So, believe it or not, Baseball Reference, shout out to them, whoever runs it.
Great
good
site.
Shit. Okay, great fucking site. So, Aaron Boone has 4 ejections this year.
Oh.
Last year, he had 9.
He's an angry little man, isn't he?
He is. He also has one of the lowest overturn rates in challenges of his career. He's 3 for 7.
Oh, no.
Or, not great. In 2020, he had a 41.7% overturn rate, and he's at 42.9. So, actually, strike that, reverse it. 2021, 30%, 3 for 10. Not fucking great.
No, I think, and honestly, I would think they'd have more than 10 challenges over a 162 game season. You know what I mean? That number for at least like attempting seems pretty damn low for 162 games. I thought that'd be like in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, not going great out there for him. Also, already with his, what's he been there? 5 years now? This is his 5th season? No, 2018. Yeah, 6. This is his 6th year. He's already ranking 57th all time in ejections with 30.
He's creeping up there. Who do you got? Who's the top 10? Can I guess the top 10?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to say Lou Piniella.
He is, where's he at? He is 13th, tied for 13th.
Wow, Lou Piniella isn't in the top 10?
Yeah, he's got 64.
Holy shit. Okay, Jim Leland.
Yeah, he's tied for 10th, 73.
Bobby Cox, I think everybody knows. Bobby Cox is number 1.
Yeah, with 162.
That's crazy. Tony La Russa.
La Russa is 5th with 93.
Yep. Tommy Lasorda.
I saw him in here. Where is he at? It's a long fucking list.
Oh, wow. So he's not even like in the top 20?
No, surprisingly.
Shit, I think that's all I got then, because I thought for sure that he was going to be inside there, or up inside there. Yeah, he's going to be all up in there with his meatball and shit.
I'll clarify this. Half these guys were dead before you and I were even fucking born on this list. John McGraw, 121, he's in 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
Leo Durocher, I'm sure I butchered the fuck out of that name.
Is Sparky
3rd? Sparky's on there. Sparky is 18th with 56. To round out your top 10, the meme lord, before memes were a thing, Earl motherfucking Weaver in 4th with 96.
Yes, Earl Weaver. Goddamn.
Manager's Corner.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is a great little episode on YouTube of that.
It is. Frankie Frisch in 6th. I don't know who that is.
Hey, Frankie, go sleep with the fish.
Yes. The man himself, Ron Gardenhire, 7th.
Oh.
Probably got 3/4 of those with the fucking Tigers with how bad they were when he was over them.
I forgot about Ron Gardenhire, but I didn't think he'd be getting thrown out that much. So he didn't really seem like a fiery guy. He's top 3.
Let's actually look. His record ejections was 8. Equaled that twice, once with the Tigers and once with the Twins. The almost historically bad 2019 Tigers, he got ejected 8 times.
Wow.
After him, you've got Paul Richards. I think he was a Detroit manager. I see a Detroit. Oh, no, that's not.
Oh, I got one. Is Billy Martin on there?
Billy Martin. Let's look.
I'm actually reading his autobiography right now.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, he has 48. He's tied for 25th.
Top 25 ain't bad.
Tied with Tommy Lasorda, by the way. Tommy Lasorda's all the way down in 25th.
Hey, not bad company, man.
Number 9, Bruce Bochy.
Oh, yes.
And then tied for 10th, you've got Clark Griffith and Jim Leland.
Oh, there you go. Son of a bitch.
Honorable mention, Joe Torre was 70. He's right behind Leland.
Yeah, Torre's a laid-back guy, too. That's fucking weird as hell that he's up there. He's got more than Lou Piniella?
Yep.
Wow, I would have never thought that, dude. Pinella's a fucking maniac.
Pinella's done in 14th with 64.
Man, they have Joe Torre over Lou Piniella as far as ejections. That's funny as fuck. I would have never even thought of that one.
Joe Torre is also tied, not Joe Torre. Lou Piniella is tied with Clint Hurdle at 64.
Dude, I think that's one thing if they go to these robotic umpires. Well, actually, you know what? Imagine someone going off on a fucking robot. Now, that would be some funny shit.
Fucking ripping the camera down and shit?
Yeah, it's like beating the fuck out of it. Remember, like, in Office Space when they beat the fuck out of the printer? Imagine, like, one of these managers just taking a bat to one of these fucking machines and just blowing the fuck out of it.
That'd be fucking amazing.
All right, so we put together a little list here, like I said in the opener, not the all-time best players at each position, but our favorites. So there's definitely going to be some randomness going on here. I guess I'll go ahead and start with my list. So at second base, I got Tony Phillips as my leadoff hitter. Old Tony.
Oh, man.
Yes, great on-base percentage in the mid-90s with the Detroit Tigers. They weren't winning divisions, but they were battling. I always fell out of the pennant race towards the end of the season, but Tony Phillips, man, a fiery guy, definitely a good base runner. I think he led the league in runs scored, I think, in 92 and 93. So I got Tony Phillips in that little batting stance that he had as my leadoff hitter. My right fielder and batting second, I got Tony Gwynn. I think you can drop Tony Gwynn off in any damn era, and the guy's going to hit at least 300. Gained a lot of weight, too. Have you ever seen a lot of his clips in the early 80s? He was a base stealer until he put on literally about 400 damn pounds. Batting third, I got probably the perfect player and one of my favorite players. I've read 2 autobiographies on the guy. I got Joe DiMaggio. Incredible stats by Joe DiMaggio. And Joe DiMaggio had 363 home runs. You know how many times he struck out?
Like 180?
369. He almost had more home runs than he struck out. If you look at his stats every single year, 320, 30 home runs, 120 RBIs. Incredibly defensive player, too. The metrics, I don't think they really kept track as good as they did nowadays. But I got DiMaggio batting third, batting fourth. You got to have Babe Ruth, right? Why that? You got to have Babe Ruth. I got Babe Ruth batting fourth, batting fifth. I got Miguel Cabrera. I'm going to throw him at first base. Triple Crown winner. Miggy, third base. I had a lot of trouble with this one because I want to throw Wade Boggs in there, but I got George Brett batting third on my team here from the Kansas City Royals. Came pretty close to hitting 400. I forgot what year it was, 1980, 81, something like that. My shortstop, I got Trammell. I got Alan Trammell. And my catcher, I got Mickey Tettleton. The coolest batting stance, I think, of all time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, the way he would cock it back. All-star games, I should say, for Mickey Tettleton. I don't think he really gets the credit he deserves, at least outside of Detroit. Those numbers he was putting up in the early to, probably from 1991 to about 1994. Good stuff. And my batting last, my DH, I got Cecil Fielder. 51 home runs in 1990, 44 in 1991. 1992, 35 home runs, 3 straight seasons, led baseball in RBIs. And let's move over to my pitching staff. Now, this is where I got it kind of mixed up between all the different eras. I got Greg Maddux. That's my ace. Dude, I'm telling you, Greg Maddux, I swear to God, Greg Maddux, I think, had more movement on his pitches. I can't verify that, but it just seems like every time he threw the ball, you could just see the movement. Whether it was a changeup, a breaking ball, you could just see it drop. I got Sandy Koufax. Career was cut way too short for Koufax, the old lefty from the Dodgers. And Nolan Ryan. I got Nolan Ryan, the all-time strikeout leader. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has the most losses, too, in Major League history for Nolan Ryan. Interesting stat, too. He never won a Cy Young, which is pretty weird out there for Nolan Ryan. Yeah. I got Bob Gibson. This dude would literally throw at your nose and not give a fuck. I got Bob Gibson, and to close it out, I got Justin Verlander as my 5th starter. My relievers, I got Mike Henneman from the Detroit Tigers. I always loved Mike Henneman. Good choice. Henneman was always my guy. And my other relief pitcher, I got Lee Smith as my other closer out there. So there it is. That's my team. My right fielder, I really wanted to put Ted Williams in there. And I think I might actually. Fuck it. We'll keep Tony Gwynn. But the right fielder was really, I wanted to put Ted Williams in there, and I probably should have now the more I'm looking at it. But that is my list. What you got, man?
So, leading off and playing center field, the one, the only Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Growing up, I played Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball on my N64.
Oh, the Super Nintendo one was better, but
yes.
Oh God, I loved. Yeah, that is a good game. Good choice.
So he was my favorite player. Loved him. When I played Little League Baseball, I tried to emulate his batting stance. I fucking sucked. So, yeah. Yes. The wiggle. Batting second, playing shortstop, the one, the only, Alan Trammell. Yes. Can't argue with Tram. One of the best ever to do it. Better WAR than 3/4 of the shortstops, including Ozzie Smith.
Yes, thank you. I was about to say fuck Ozzie Smith.
Yep, Ozzie Smith fucking sucked minus a couple of seasons. Tram's slash line, all his defensive metrics are far and away better than Ozzie Smith, but he got the hype. So
because he did backflips, and I swear to God, I think that's the only reason why the son of a bitch did backflips.
Yep, somebody should have broke his fucking back. No more backflips. Batting third, shout out Jim Price, and playing second base, Lou Whitaker, who also should absolutely fucking be in the Hall of Fame. One of the best second basemen of all goddamn time.
Yep, completely agree. And I don't know how. I mean, I like Jack Morris, but if I had to pick between Jack Morris and Lou Whitaker, I definitely would have went Whitaker.
Yep. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Edgar Martinez.
Yes.
Factually, the best designated hitter in the history of baseball. He's the only proper designated hitter in the Hall, if I'm remembering correctly. Used to play the hell out of him in that Major League Baseball game too. So, little attachment there. Batting fifth, one of my all-time favorites, Michigan State Spartan alumnus, lettered in football and baseball, Kirk Gibson. Kirk Gibson, really storied career. You know, his career batting average is 268, not that great. The guy had a lot of power. He was just kind of an all-tool player too. Long career, played really, really well his whole career. I cannot love him. Batting sixth, the first baseman, Cecil Fielder.
Yes.
Growing up, that was one of my favorite Tigers because, I mean, when you and I were growing up, the Tigers were not that great during that time frame.
They were a power hitting team too. They had power.
They were.
Yeah, that's all they were known for was power hitting.
Yep. Shout out that homer he hit over and out of the damn stadium. Totally legendary. Also got a ring when he went to the Yankees at the end of his career. Shout out to that. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Travis Fryman.
Oh, okay.
That was one of my dudes growing up because when I played baseball, I played outfield and I played third base. So you can guess who else is going to be on this list because you and I have talked about it. Batting eighth, the Greenberg.
Oh, yes.
World War II veteran.
58 home runs, yep.
Missed 3 seasons because of his service. He came back late in the season in 1945, hit the fucking cover off the baseball. The dude could not be beat in that year. And I believe that's also the year the Tigers won the World Series, 1945.
Yep, 35, 45, 68, 84, right here.
Yep. So, Hank Greenberg. I had Bill Freehand there.
Yeah.
Also, another Tiger legend. But I had to go with the World War II vet. I had to do it.
Yeah, Charlie Gehringer, I wanted to throw at second base, too. Because if you look at his numbers, man, I think they called him the Mechanical Man, right? I think was his nickname. But Charlie Gehringer put up some crazy stats for a second baseman. I think he won an MVP like in 34 or 35 around that time, if I'm not mistaken, for the Tigers. Gibson, man, interesting fact about Gibson. You know, he was, I think, the only player to not make an all-star team but win the MVP in a season.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. I think it was in 88 or 87. He wasn't on the all-star team, but ended up winning MVP.
So, batting ninth and playing left field, Bobby Higginson.
Oh, no!
That was my boy growing up. The dude's slash line for his career is not bad. 272, 358, 455, 813. That's well above average I'm just going to say it. Minus Riley Green, that's better than anybody that's currently on the Tigers roster. So.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Better than Austin Meadows' slash line.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't think he even did. He had maybe 6 at-bats this season? No, he had zero.
Yeah.
I don't think
he had 0.
Yeah,
he didn't play at all.
Oh, no.
So, starting pitchers. So many good names to choose from. So hard to do this.
Yeah.
My ace, Felix Hernandez.
Oh.
That guy was so good out in Seattle. It's a shame he never got a ring. But yeah, love that guy. He was always such a good guy too. Very humble. He didn't want to go anywhere other than Seattle. You know, he could have left at the end of his career, gone and gotten a ring, but he stayed loyal. So props for that. My number 2 man should probably be my ace, Randy Johnson.
Yeah,
the big unit, the big freaking unit. You can tell also kind of that game's bleeding through again because both those guys were absolutely in that game for Seattle. My third could also be the ace, Justin Verlander. Still got my Verlander jersey from when he was at the Tigers. Grew up on him. some of those legendary playoff performances in the ALDS. Oh my! I remember. Yeah, and then I remember the A's could not touch him. I think it was back to back years, 2 years. They straight up couldn't get a hit off of him. He was just so dominant against them.
Yeah, that 06 too. He was a rookie.
Yes, and he was damn good.
Yep.
My fourth, the Madman, Max Scherzer.
Oh, good call.
One of my favorites. Obviously, I'm a Nationals fan too. So when he left Detroit and went to Washington, I mean, that was my dude when he was here, and that was my dude when he went to the Nats. Got his ring with us. Yeah, just a really good dude. A lot of money.
Hey, you know he has 2 different color eyes, right?
He does, yeah. And then my fifth starter. This is another one kind of close to my heart. Probably controversial. Shouldn't be in here. Steven Strasburg.
Oh, he had a run, man. It's fucked up what happened to his career.
Yeah, he had the MVP in our World Series. That guy they couldn't hit him. They couldn't hit him that whole postseason. Nobody could hit off of him. He was amazing. And then my relievers. Oh, I got a good one for you.
What? Don't even
Jonesy.
say. I knew. I fucking you gonna say Todd Jones.
The mustache, the fucking mustache, man. You can't.
He played.
The dude
Didn't he play for like 12 fucking different teams and shit?
He did. He had 319 saves.
Wow.
His ERA was damn near 4.
You know what his nickname was?
Huh?
The human roller coaster.
I mean, that's a very accurate description. You could probably say that for Papa Grande too. Holy shit.
And Joe Nathan.
Yeah, God. And my other reliever, you can't argue him. Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Best to ever do it. 2.21 ERA, 652 saves, 1,100 strikeouts for a closer.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy with the amount of innings they don't get. Yeah,
he's best to ever do it. The one memory that sticks out to me about him was the AL. I think it was the DS when Cabrera hit no, that was just regular season.
Yeah,
remember Cabrera?
Yep.
He is back-to-back games. Cabrera just destroyed him and crushed him straight out to dead center.
You know, it's funny you brought that up because that was just a regular season game, but I think everybody remembers that shit. And I remember, I don't know if it was the first game or the second game he did it, and I was upstairs watching the game, like by the slushy machines they had, and I seen it live when it happened because they had the game on up there. Yeah, that's one of those games, regular season games, that just lives in infamy for the Detroit Tigers. Those home runs, Cabrera off Rivera.
I remember his reaction to Correra, just like he literally mouthed, "Wow!" Like, holy shit! I mean, that's the Miguel that everyone remembers. Like when he was in his prime, he could hit anybody. It didn't matter who was pitching; those guys feared every pitch to him because he could just flick it out to center field, no effort.
So patient too, man. Like he would not bite on anything outside the plate. It's almost like, you know, on the MLB The Show, you get the square. It's like he permanently knew where the square was. And even pitches that were close, the umpire always gave him the benefit of the doubt because his eye was so good back then. Damn.
Yeah. These are, I think, both of our players, man. So many Hall of Famers in there, so many greats, you know.
You know what I think we should do? Because almost all these players are on MLB The Show. And the ones that aren't, we should create them. We should do like a best of 7 one day of our all-time teams and play them on MLB The Show.
Fuck yeah.
I'm definitely down for that, man. We'll have to like kind of mess around with the stats. Obviously, they're not going to be all 99s. Like Tony Phillips will probably only be like a 66 in contact and maybe like a 68. But we should definitely do that, man, coming up soon.
So, to piggyback on what we were just talking about. So, a man that's fallen off a whole lot to this season, Miguel Cabrera. It's not really much to say about his statistics. I mean, I think anybody that knows anything knows he's bad. He's hitting 176 in 85 plate appearances.
Damn.
He's not hitting for power. He's only got 15 hits total. He's only been driven in 3 times. He's, I mean, you watch the games, you feel really bad because the guy can barely even run to first now. You know, the meme about the 43-year-old pitcher and him having a freaking foot race. Jesus Christ. And I was listening to 97.1 today, and Costa and Valenti were on. I love Jim Costa, by the way. think he's a lot better than Rico.
Rico Beard.
Yeah. I mean, Rico Beard, whatever, but I like Costa. And Costa brought up, is like, so you're kind of in this division right now. We brought up a couple of games back. You've got this guy. What do you really do with him? The guy can't even barely run to first. Like, literally can't run to first anymore. He looks to be in the worst shape of his career to me. You see the gut and you just look at his face, like the photo of the player this year, and I honestly feel bad for him. I don't know if he's got some personal shit going on in his life or what, but yeah, the guy can't hit a lick. And what should the Tigers do? They've got a couple of guys down in the minors that are tearing the cover off the damn ball that they could probably use up here right now. Kerry Carpenter's coming back when he's done with his injury. So what do they do? Does
Nevin too? Nevin's playing pretty good down there.
Yes, you've got Malloy, Colt Keith down there that everyone's talking about, Nevin, and then you're going to have Kerry Carpenter coming back, who's going to be a power threat, which is what they need. But do any of the people affiliated with his organization have the balls to go to this guy? The Yankees did it with A-Rod. They told A-Rod to fuck off out the door midseason because he couldn't hit the ball. Ken Griffey, he retired midseason because he couldn't do it. But does anybody in this, I'm going to say it, Fleabag organization right now, does anybody have... I can tell you one thing, Mike Yelich wouldn't have tolerated this. Mike Yelich would have paid him out last season and told him to get bent. They traded Prince Fielder midseason because he was plonking people's wives.
Well, no, it was the other way around.
Avisail Garcia was plonking his wife, yes.
Yeah.
But they traded both of them out, and just the indecisiveness with this. The man should not have been on this roster this season. I know you and I have talked about that a little. Last year should have been his farewell tour. He hit pretty well for a decent part of the year last year. He hit 254. I mean, for a guy his age, he hit a couple of bombs. It was fun. He made his little records. Cool. That's when you needed to let it go, because now you're getting this farewell tour. The guy's playing once a series?
Yeah.
And even then he can't even I mean, the guy can't hit for power.
Yeah, he's really late on fastballs too. They're jamming him inside, outside. Even some of them that have a little bit elevation, he can't catch up to him. I think the only difference is with A-Rod and Griffey, though, is that they weren't on the team for a long period of time. I mean, A-Rod obviously was on the Yankees for a while, so I guess I shouldn't say that. But Griffey had left and went to Cincinnati, and I think the White Sox. I think he fell asleep in the dugout.
Yeah, he did.
In one game, too. So they were on the end of their career. It's tough.
It's very tough.
Yeah, you really would have liked to just seen him retire last year and call it a day. And it's not like an Albert Pujols situation last year, because Pujols was playing good. He was playing really good at the end of his career, where he legitimately earned a spot down the stretch with the Cardinals and finished out his career on a high note. I don't know. I really don't know. It would be a tough decision if you're in management, man, because I don't think you could flat out cut him. I couldn't do that. But I think it definitely needs to be approached. But what are you gonna do though? Are you gonna flat out release him, or you can't make him retire mid-season? I think a lot of guys sometimes, and it happens in football too, they'll come in during spring training or during the expedition season and maybe play 2 games and say, you know what, I'm done. I think in spring training they maybe could have did something like that. Honestly, man, God, it's just such a hard decision. If I was manager or had a leadership role in the Tigers, which I probably will next year. I mean,
you can't do any fucking worse than what they got right now.
Yeah, I would just keep him on the team. I don't think I could cut him. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think I would have the guts to cut him. I wouldn't.
So here's the big. So we'll go through one of the things that. I mean, I can't make a suggestion, but Pujols last year, his slash line 270, 345, 550, 895 OPS. Yeah. He hit Where's his bombs? 24 freaking bombs. And I know from watching him, he hit like half of those in the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, he had a stretch. I think it was like 6 out of 7 games or something like that. He was just lighting it up out there.
Yeah, but and I think the problem and why we're here with Miguel is you had an absolute dead freaking body in that GM's office for the last 7 years. Al Avila was the most incompetent general manager in the history of baseball. And he didn't have the balls to do anything. He had to ask to get Austin Meadows. you ask your owner for that? I mean, what are we fucking doing here? Like, it's embarrassing for me that he was even brought back. And I don't think anybody on this team, no matter who it is, whether it be the only person that could do that would have been Mike Ilitch and would be Marion Ilitch if she was over the team. Scott Harris, he's not been there long enough to, in my opinion, be able to do that. And Chris Ilitch is, I'm just going to say it, Chris Ilitch is a little bitch boy. I don't think that, I'm just going to come out and say it. The team will never win under him. He will never spend.
Oh, I don't know if they'll never win. They're in second place.
He's a cheap ass. He's never going to spend. We need to get Miguel's contract off the books is weak because they're still below major league average in spending, even with that $35 million on. Nobody's going to them fucking games. It's embarrassing. Nobody's going to watch that guy because the guy can't even run the fucking first. It's like the guy's got lung cancer or some shit.
Lung cancer.
It's like, for me, having seen a lot of these other Hall of Famers at the end of their career, it's totally inexcusable that this organization didn't finish this last year. You know, I know you fired Al midseason. Cool. Chris Ilitch, if you had a fucking pulse, and you watched Miguel down the stretch, he couldn't keep up with the season. He was hitting okay, and then once it got past like the midpoint, you could tell his stamina just shoop. So no, I don't think anybody's got the balls to do it. But the right move, if it was a good organization, a top-notch organization with good leadership, would have been have him hang it up last year. Or now you go to the guy and you say, listen, man, I don't want you to get embarrassed. We want you to take a step back. We're going to put you on as a hitting performance coach or some shit. We're going to pay you out your money, do something. But this organization won't do it because there's nobody in it that has the balls to do it. And I don't think my opinion on AJ Hinch has gone throughout the season, but obviously he's gotten some buy-in now. But does Hinch have the Shepta for that, and 2, does Hinch have the cachet to be able to say that?
See, I don't really have a problem with it as long as I guess what I'm saying is I don't have a problem with the way they're doing it right now, because he's really not getting in there eating up Torkelson's time or anybody at that first base position, but it is taking up a roster spot. And if you're going to be hanging around for a pennant race, you would rather have like a Kelly Carpenter or even Nevin, the spot that he's taken up. But it's just such a hard thing to do though, because you almost just want him to retire. You're just like, hey man, like, you know, we're not at Ford Motor Company or Chrysler. It's not like you can just go up to him and, you know, during his lunch break and shit and be like, hey man, can I talk to you for a minute over here? Like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. He might retire mid-season. You might not even have to worry about it because he's not playing. Actually, let's see if I'm gonna see if I can find when the last time he even played was. I don't think it was more than probably 3 or 4 days ago, but it seems like he's only playing like once a week at this point. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go on.
Say, I think the only way to get him to voluntarily go mid-season is to play the fuck out of him, and then he hits like 0-9-0, and he's like, oh my God, my arm's snapping off, my legs are broken, you know. Like, you make the guy realize he really doesn't have it, but, I mean, are you really gonna... Does anybody have the balls to do that in the organization either? Because you're going to embarrass a first ballot Hall of Famer, you know?
I gotta take all this in. So you're basically saying the way to get Miguel Cabrera to retire is not by benching him, but by playing him. Oh, that is just so horrible. That is horrible when you think about that. Hey, you want to retire? Usually it's like, hey, you want to retire? We're going to sit you down because you can't hit no more. Oh, you know what? We'll let you play. So you can embarrass yourself like you're playing on MLB The Show on like Hall of Fame like difficulty or something out there where you're just hacking out there. Oh.
Put him in first and put Torkelson in
Oh,
DH.
God. Put him on the field, too? Oh, yeah. I don't even think it would take an inning. He'd get to the bench. Take me out, man.
Fuck him. Put him at third base. They don't have anybody else that can play third base.
God, put him at the hot corner. Oh, my God. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Especially when he hasn't played third base in probably 3 years. Holy shit.
Yeah. I guess my point of that is, like, being that outlandish, it's such a bad situation. There's literally nothing you can do. Yeah. You can't do anything. Yeah. Oh, one quick note before we end. Carlos Correra and his foot.
Yes.
They don't know. I was reading an article this morning. They don't know how bad it is. He could be done.
Oh, man. It's so funny the slack that the Giants got because we didn't have all the information leading into it. And then obviously with the Mets, the shit that went down there. But, yeah, they talked about that metal plate in his foot that I think he had the injury back in his minor league days that caused that it just didn't heal right when they put that metal plate in there or something to that regards. But, yeah, Carlos Correra, man, whoa, sitting out for the first place Minnesota Twins. That was a ticking time bomb. All the articles you were reading that were coming out later during the offseason after the Mets couldn't wrap up the deal. Red flags everywhere. Minnesota Twins took a chance. What was that contract? It really wasn't that big, was it? Like 150?
Let me find the one article I was just reading earlier. By the way, I just saw another update on it.
Uh-oh.
He has plantar fasciitis. He could be done 3 to 4 months.
Oh, my God. How ironic is that, too? That is just so ironic. The guy stays in the headlines, I tell you that.
He signed a 6-year, $200 million deal that was... they don't see how... He's got 4 vesting options that could take the full payout to 270 after 10. Yikes.
Damn. Well, I bet you the Giants are somewhere laughing their asses off right now.
So is fucking Cullen with the Mets.
Yep. Right, there it is. That is the Sports Podcast for May 26th and a Friday. Hey, look, I got it right. Thanks for watching.
You did. Goddamn.
I got it right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See ya.